Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. And today we're diving into an interesting topic, signs you're dealing with a pathological liar. Now, this is something that can be tricky because it's not always obvious when someone is lying. It can really shake your sense of reality. If you feel like you're in a relationship where the trust is being eroded and you're questioning the truth of your partner's stories, today's video might help shed some light on this issue. When confronted with evidence that contradicts their lies, instead of acknowledging the truth and apologizing, they often become defensive, shifting the blame to external factors or other people. They may try to justify their behavior by saying things like, "I only lied to protect you," or "I couldn't tell you the truth because," which ultimately doesn't take responsibility for their actions. You might be dealing with a pathological liar. These patterns of behavior are common in people who struggle with this condition, and it is important to look out for them. The more signs you notice in your partner, the higher the likelihood that you're dealing with a pathological liar. Pathological liars often view any attempt to confront them about their lies as an attack, even if your intention is to express your feelings and try to resolve the issue. Early exposure to traumatic events can lead to a breakdown in trust and a distorted sense of reality, causing individuals to construct elaborate narratives to make sense of their experiences. Pathological liars often have underlying cognitive distortions that make it difficult for them to distinguish between truth and falsehood. They also may struggle with forming a stable and consistent identity, leading them to create multiple personalities or alternate identities. By creating false narratives of success, power, or popularity, they can temporarily escape their perceived limitations and feel a sense of superiority. However, this form of escapism is short-lived and ultimately reinforces their need for deception to maintain a positive self-image. The effects can be profound and far-reaching. Living with a partner who engages in this kind of behavior can lead to significant emotional distress, confusion, and a breakdown in the relationship. They may engage in deception to maintain these different identities or to escape the consequences of their actions. When you're constantly second guessing the truth of what your partner tells you, it can create a sense of isolation and uncertainty about your reality. Rather than taking responsibility for their actions, they may twist the truth, shifting the blame to you and portraying you as the one at fault. This manipulation can be emotionally draining and leave you feeling gaslit and confused. It's essential to approach conversations about lying calmly and with clear intentions, focusing on specific instances of deception rather than attacking your partner's character. Remember, the goal is to address the issue, not to escalate the situation. You might start doubting your memory, perception, and judgment, wondering if you're misinterpreting situations or overreacting to your partner's lies. Trust is the foundation of any healthy relationship, and without it, the bond between partners can deteriorate rapidly. When this is broken, it becomes challenging to communicate openly and honestly, which can create a barrier between you and your partner. Rebuilding trust after significant deception is possible, but requires both parties to commit to transparency and active listening. It takes time and effort. This can lead to feelings of self-blame and guilt, making it even more difficult to confront the issue. Recognizing the signs, understanding the underlying causes, and knowing the potential impact of this behavior is the first step towards addressing the issue. Whether you choose to confront your partner, seek professional help, or reevaluate the relationship, it's crucial to prioritize your emotional health and well-being. Each of these factors contributes to a complex web of reasons why someone might resort to deception as a primary mode of communication, but it's crucial to remember just because someone has experienced trauma, for instance, doesn't automatically mean they will become a pathological liar. For example, an individual with identity issues may lie about their personal history, occupation, or relationships to portray a certain image to others. This can result in a fragmented sense of self and make it challenging for them to maintain long-term relationships based on trust. They may have a distorted sense of reality and lack the ability to accurately assess situations or the motivations of others. This can lead to paranoia and mistrust, causing them to fabricate lies to protect themselves from perceived threats or to manipulate situations in their favor. Trauma survivors may lie to protect themselves from further harm or to avoid being judged or stigmatized by others. There could be other factors contributing to their behavior. To better understand the complexities of this issue, let's dive into the underlying causes of pathological lying. Remember, they are not being malicious or intentionally deceptive just to hurt you. People with certain mental health conditions, such as borderline personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, or antisocial personality disorder, are more susceptible to engaging in frequent lying behaviors. These conditions often involve difficulties with impulse control, emotional regulation, and interpersonal relationships, leading individuals to use lies as a way to manipulate situations or avoid negative consequences. Additionally, conditions like anxiety and paranoia can contribute to pathological lying, as individuals may lie to protect themselves from perceived threats or to maintain a certain image in the eyes of others. Their pattern of lying is a maladaptive way of coping with anxiety, fear, and stress. Now, while occasional white lies happen in most relationships, a key difference between regular lying and pathological lying is the frequency and the motives behind it. Pathological liars don't just occasionally lie to protect themselves or others. It's an ingrained habit and a defense mechanism that they fall back on constantly, regardless of the consequences. This means that you may find yourself in situations where you are unsure about the veracity of anything your partner says. Relationships like this can be very confusing and emotionally draining. The first sign you're dealing with a pathological liar is constant lying. They also lack remorse. Someone who is just a person who lies frequently does have remorse and has high control, meaning it's calculated and usually to avoid something. A pathological liar has low control, grandiose, intricate stories, and often believes their own lies. Another thing that can tip you off is if they are skilled storytellers. Their lies are so ingrained in their narratives that they can be hard to distinguish from the truth. They weave elaborate tales filled with dramatic details and emotional appeals that make their lies sound convincing. At times, it might even seem like they genuinely believe the lies themselves. This storytelling ability makes it all the more difficult to confront them about their deception because they are able to maintain a consistent narrative. Just because their stories sound convincing doesn't mean they are true. Look out for these signs in your conversations with your partner. Do they change their stories over time? Are their stories full of inconsistencies and contradictions? However, it's important to keep in mind that just because someone lies frequently and lacks remorse doesn't automatically make them a pathological liar. As to the possible causes of pathological lying, first, we have mental health conditions. Another cause is a history of trauma or abuse. Individuals who have experienced severe trauma or abuse, especially during childhood, may develop pathological lying as a coping mechanism. Now let's talk about something called cognitive distortions. This refers to patterns of thinking that cause us to perceive the world around us in inaccurate ways. Pathological liars may use deception as a way to compensate for low self-esteem or feelings of inferiority. As we continue to explore this topic, let's shift our focus to the impact that this can have on you. Being in a relationship with someone who lies pathologically can cause you to question your own sanity. Confronting a partner about their pathological lying can lead to heightened defensiveness and manipulation. Living with a partner who lies pathologically can also lead to a loss of trust. Dealing with a partner who lies pathologically can be extremely challenging. It can take a toll on your emotional well-being, cause confusion and strain on your relationship. If you're in a relationship with a pathological liar, know that you're not alone. So if you're dealing with a pathological liar, what strategies have you found helpful in managing the situation? Thank you for watching today's video. If you found it valuable, please hit the like button and share it with others.